Whew, all right. Hello, everybody. Sorry that not quite ready this morning. I had an appointment and then just got into the studio. My hands are ice cubes. We'll see. Might take a little bit of warming up before I can draw, but I am going to start here in a second. I didn't quite get a chance to finish posting everywhere online because it takes me like half an hour to do this. Really need to move post scheduling up on my list of things to do today. It takes so long. I'll try and get it all done for tomorrow. That'll be great. Yeah, I don't know how to do this at all. Anyway, how's everyone doing? And thank you so much, Shiki. I really appreciate that. It's nice to have you here. Okay. Whew. How's everyone doing? We're going to be doing some horses today. As soon as my hands can move, I will hit submit on this Instagram story and then we'll get started. But if you've never drawn before and this is just something you're trying out, that's totally fine. You don't have to participate by any means. I'm just going to be, drawing from some reference pictures. I'll post a few in my Discord. If you want to draw from the same picture that I'm drawing from, just go to my Discord. You can find it there. Thank you, Amaze. You're awesome. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow along, there's like a whole channel for these warm-up streams. But yeah, for the most part, well, you're welcome to just find whatever you want, you know? You don't have to worry about drawing the exact picture I am, you know? Sorry, guys. I'm really bad at multitasking. Ugh, and my phone is impossible. Let's see. So, equines. Equines are the theme today. If you don't know what an equine is, it is a horse, mostly. Horses, donkeys. You could do prehistoric horses as well. Zebras are equines. So go pick a fun picture to draw. I did post a link to my Pinterest board that is full of reference pictures of horses of all different kinds and shapes and sizes and all that stuff. We are horsing around today. I see what you did there, Maze. I like it. I like it. Okay. Posting Instagram story link. Let's see, drawing. Warming up with horses. Warm up stream starting. I never ever know what to put on these things. But yeah, you can check out, like I said, the Discord if you want to find some ideas. As soon as I'm done figuring out what I'm going to say on Instagram stories, I will start drawing here. And I'll find some reference pictures. In fact, I guess I can link it in the chat here too if people don't like. I know not everyone's on Discord. I do have a really great, I'll talk about it probably more later on the stream. There's this really great book I had growing up that I have lost. Oh my gosh, look at you, Amaze. You are so on it. Amaze has already posted the link. Thank you. Yeah, if you need some ideas or some reference pictures, check out the chat. Amaze living up to his name as usual. Helping me out. Really appreciate it. Okay. Today we are trying some rough. How's everyone doing today, though? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm trying so hard here, guys. Okay. Whatever. Okay, that'll work. Alright, time to charge my phone because it always dies. We are, oh, yay or nay. Ooh, I like that too. Look, you guys, I'm here for a pun. Okay, so a punny time, if you will. Yeah, so on the Pinterest board, you'll see all kinds of different sections. I can pull it up here really fast, actually. I also, so I fixed this at my home stream. Oh my gosh, why? Just why? There we go. But I didn't have time to test it before stream today. I'm gonna attempt to play some copyrighted music at the end of stream today and just see if I set my thing up right here at home, but I think I figured out the audio issue with that. But anyway, here's the equine board, all different kinds, right? We've got zebras and donkeys, mules, and zorses. If you don't know what a zorse is, it's a zebra and a horse mixed. You know, there's all different types of horses too. I probably need to get less general with this. Feel free to look around, and obviously prehistoric horses are fine too. If you want to draw a prehistoric animal, that is absolutely cool with me. But the anatomy section here is very helpful. I'm going to be doing an anatomy sketch really quick. Horses are complex. They're kind of renowned for being one of the more complex animals to draw. Terrell Whitlatch, a creature designer that I really admire, she always talks about if you can figure out how to draw a really nice horse, then you have the anatomy skills to draw just about any creature, because it's a very yeah, there's just a lot going on. It's a lot of complexity. So yeah, we're gonna be working on horses today. I'll do some full bodies. We'll do some portraits too. I'll probably start with a portrait because most people are less intimidated by a horse face rather than drawing an entire horse. But do check out the anatomy section here. I highly recommend if you want to get better at horses. I also have this one, Draw Horses with Sam Savitt. This is a book that I had as a kid that I actually don't know where it is, and I'm really sad about it. It might be back at my parents' house in Texas. Mom, if you're watching, let me know if you find it. I used to have it here. I don't know where it went, but I used to draw from this all the time as a kid. This is a horse illustrator from a while back. Did a lot of horse books, a lot of cover art with horses, but just has like a ton of really good anatomy tips. Like, I mean, we're talking horses of like varying expressions. You can talk about how to make a horse look a certain way. Different angles of the leg. Like, look at this like turnaround that he did in the 40s, like of a horse leg. So anyway, I'll probably be working from some of these today, but if you need a quick reference, like I still use these all the time when I'm drawing horses. This is my my arch enemy, the hind leg right here. Very hard for me. I will be working on that today because that's what this stream is about. It's about being bad at doing something and trying to get better at it. So you guys get to watch me be terrible at drawing horse hind legs today. But anyway, check out that board if you are looking for some reference. Happy to share those. I have a reference picture addiction for sure. There's like way too many pictures in there. I need to organize them more. But all right, let's get started. I'm tired from work, boring day. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you, so you're at the end of your shift? You must be in a different time zone than me. All right. I'm over here in Colorado. So again, I said this on my streams before when we did these sketch streams, but if you want to do some tracing to kind of warm up your hand, kind of get an idea of what sorts of shapes you're going to be working with today, there's no shame in that. You know, pay attention to how things feel when you're drawing them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. So, I mean, I know I do that a lot for the hind legs. You'll see me do that probably on stream today. So don't be, like, there's kind of a, I don't know what the word would be. Sort of like a poo-pooing, I guess, of tracing sometimes. And it's a valid learning tool. I would say just don't rely on it. Don't trace everything you're doing because you're not actually learning at that point. My voice is already, sorry guys. My voice is already gone today. It's a little frustrating. All right, so for me, hold on. I said I was gonna do portraits first. I'm getting ahead of myself. I did pull up a few reference pictures while I was waiting on things to, see, we're gonna be doing that today. Waiting for things to post. I guess I didn't pull up a skeleton. Hold on. Let's grab a skeleton. Here's a good one. Oh my goodness, why can't I just... There we go. Copy image, okay. Here we go. Perfect. So this is a simplified skeleton, but it'll definitely work. Yeah, let's do some skeletal practice first. I know a lot of people, like, this might look intimidating. Don't be intimidated. The understanding what's going on beneath the fur and the muscles is super crucial, you know, to actually knowing what you're drawing. It is 5:12 p.m. Oh my gosh, wow. So yeah, you must be in the, are you in the UK? Must be over there somewhere. Yes, revealing my horse goal roots for sure. Let's start with this guy. I'm gonna scoot this down just a tad. All right. So for me, I always start with shapes. If you're new to sketching, starting with shape and not worrying about detail is definitely. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so I can see everything. It's definitely the way to go. And if you're not sure about proportion, just try looking for the biggest shapes, right? So I could even go simpler and just draw and just make sure that that size is roughly correct in proportion to the head, right? So I could draw my little shape there. Obviously it's not super accurate. You got the curve of the skeleton here we're gonna worry about in a second. But once I have my basic shape, I can start laying in kind of where stuff goes. So I just, you know, if you're new to this, worry about getting the length of the bone right as opposed to the shape right away. When I keep saying shape, what I'm really talking about is form, right? So this is like a rectangular form. So here we go. There's my slightly rectangular, it's definitely not accurate, form here. All right. So there's the rib cage. There's the general loose shape of the shoulder. Remember, I'm mostly worried about length of the bones and if I'm getting that right in proportion to the rest of the animal. And don't feel bad if it takes you longer. I've been drawing horses for a very long time. Like I said, I used that Sam Savitt book a lot as a kid. All right. And side note, horse skulls look very cool. So a lot of people who draw, you know, creepy art, I guess, or like Halloween-y looking things, you're gonna see a lot of herbivore skulls because they just have those long faces with the crazy smiles. I mean, a lot of skulls have smiles, but yeah, I do certainly love a good horse smile. Look at that cheerful grin. Anyway, don't get caught up in the details yet, Casey. See, I have to remind myself. I'm learning too, guys. All right. I'm not going to worry really about number of ribs here. That's a little more detailed than I want to get today. This is just to kind of warm me up for proportion. We're practicing proportion for when we do draw the full body of the horse. Just to remember, you know, like they have a pretty big shoulder. Just kind of take mental notes, you know, big shoulder bone. You know, their shoulder blades lay this way. Ours are behind. That we have the same pieces. They're just in different places and different lengths. And notice they have a very short, you know, like this is the knee of the horse right here. This whole thing is what would be below the knee, right? So just take note of how short that femur is, you know, how close it is to the hip bone. That's going to help you understand how to draw the leg whenever you have an issue when you're drawing from reference or if you're drawing from imagination. Right, we got that short femur, that little knee bone right there. Got the ankle bone. Notice that this sticks up, right? So whenever you draw a horse's leg, a lot of times you'll see that bone. Like this is why when you see people drawing things like that in their horses, what they're drawing is that bone under there. So if you know where it goes, it informs your artwork. And see, I already can tell I got the angle wrong on that bone. I got too excited. Anyway, that's why we're doing this, guys. So just keep in mind, we're not trying to be super detailed. We're just trying to get the basics. And I know I said I would post this in Discord, so let me go ahead and do that real fast. Sorry, I forgot to do that. I'm still new to these streams, guys. Still working out the way I want to do them. Shoot, where do I put the reference? I'll just stick it in warm-up chat, okay? First ref of the morning. Here we go. Left some little instructions in there for anybody who can't draw along right now but wants to later. That's where you can do that. And you live in the UK, nice. Well, I'm happy. I don't know how you found my stream, but I'm so happy you did. Thanks for joining. Are you an artist or are you just an art connoisseur, Shiki, if you're still here? If not, that's okay too. You may have already had to skedaddle. And then notice that the knee, at least on most, this would be considered like a quarter horse or just like a standard horse body type, but notice that the knee is visible for like a typical healthy horse with a healthy barrel. The barrel is the stomach. The knee of the hind leg is just visible, so you can always keep that in mind when you're thinking about how the horse is moving behind the body. It can also help you remember how to draw it. So we got the knee bone here, the little ankle bone. Notice the angle when the horse foot lands. This is the angle it's landing at. That's going to be, see, it's the same thing on the front. It's going to be important for later as well. I'm also saying this so that I remember, because this is half of why I have issues with hind legs, is I can never remember exactly the angle that it lands at. It's slightly different for big cats. If you ever look at a big cat skeleton in a walking pose, you'll notice the ankle bone is lower, so a slightly lower angle. And so it's easy to get them all confused. I see a lot of people who say draw big cats a lot tend to put big cat anatomy on herbivores like horses or antelope or anything, and so it's an easy trap to fall into if you get too used to drawing one type of animal. All right. And then you wonder why it doesn't look quite right. That's usually why. Alrighty. Don't want to spend too much time on this, but it is helpful. It's also reminding me that I have not drawn from a horse in quite a while. Oh, it's this Land. Hey, how's it going, Land? Good to see ya. Thanks for joining. So happy to have ya. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have recognized you from your username here. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining in. Feel free to, like I said, sketch along or follow along later on Discord if you want, or just hang out. Hope work was okay. I don't want to get too caught up in the bones here. I have to remind myself, we're not drawing skeletons today. Notice the tail. A lot of people think that the horse tail is just hair. A lot of people draw it as though it's just a bunch of hair coming out of the rump right there, but it's not. They do have a tail bone, just like many animals. So yeah, keep that in mind. And this is why anatomy practice is important. When you know these things, it really will make your art develop quickly. All right, so there's our skeleton. I love these little wither bones here. These are always a lot of fun. But okay, there we go. There's our loose horse form. I guess I didn't finish the foot. I should probably do that. Important thing to check also is does it look like your horse is landing in the same spot on both feet, right? Or any animal you draw. If it's not, it'll be pretty easy to tell if you just draw a line. I can see right now that my foot is way too high, so I'm going to change that. Or this one might be actually too long. Hold on. Now that I'm looking at this, I think this is too long, because this should be roughly equal to that. There we go. All right. So not a perfect horse, but it's a start. I definitely did my forelimb way too long though. Easy thing to do. Don't feel bad if yours is disproportionate. Mine is too. It's here for all to see, right? There we go. Okay, there's our slightly truncated, looks a little squat. I probably should have stretched out his body a little more, but here is our little horse skeleton without muscles yet. So you can check it if you want to draw little bits over it and see, but I think I'm gonna leave it as is. Let's move on to a horse portrait. I'm gonna leave that there in case anyone's using it. Oh no, you're fine, you're fine. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free, and like I said before, if anyone makes a sketch that they, want to share, you can always share it in Discord. You don't have to, but you're welcome to draw along later at your own convenience. These VODs stay up for like, I think 2 weeks on Twitch before they get taken down. I'm gonna try to start downloading them and just have them on file in case I ever do decide to do anything with my YouTube channel. I probably won't anytime soon, but it's in the docket, for things to do at some point. So I'll try and get them downloaded, but they may not be available online again for some time. Because I don't know yet if I'm gonna just upload them to YouTube or not. So, all right, let's pick a horse portrait. Sorry again that I wasn't ready with references today. My doctor's appointment this morning kind of threw me off a bit. All right, let's find a nice horse picture. There's so many options, I don't even know which one to pick, honestly. I could do one that's crazy, but it wouldn't be very helpful. Here's a good one. Very, very straightforward, horsey photo. Let me find one that's not covered in spots, actually. I want you guys to be able to actually see what's going on in the anatomy, so let's find a just plain Jane brown horse, which I apparently don't have. Oh, this one's not too bad. Nice and whiskery. There we go. Here's a good one. Okay. Very easy to see. Nice little flaxen chestnut here. Okay. So let's get that one put in Discord. Well, typo. There's a typo on that. Sorry for any typos, guys. I'm moving quickly. Okay. Let's, yeah. So we're going to be paying attention, and you can always leave your, kind of like I'm doing, leave your anatomy reference kind of on hand so you can see sort of what it is that you're drawing and why, maybe why the shapes are a certain way, or where the eye goes in relation to the ear and why that matters and all that kind of stuff. So I did post this one in Discord, and I know I tend to go a little faster probably. That will not be the case most likely on some of our future sketch projects. I'm hoping to do things that aren't just animals, because I draw a lot of creatures. If anyone has spent any time around me and my work, you've seen that. Eventually we're going to do things that are more complicated that I tend to avoid, things like motorcycles and cars and, architecture and that kind of thing. So I'll probably be moving a lot slower on those. But for these, I like to do fast and loose. If you want to take one of these references and just spend your whole 30 minutes, oh, I forgot to set my timer. That is the goal, by the way, of these, is to sketch for 30 minutes. Just do 30-minute warm-up sketch. So yeah, feel free to set your timer. But let's see, I'm just gonna set a timer in my head. So, all right. And the nice thing about a portrait is because it's just focusing on one part of the horse, you can spend a little more time. So maybe I'll go try and do a little more detail, we'll see. And so for me, like I know I have some bad habits because I do draw certain animals so often. I don't spend enough time actually looking at the reference, so I can already tell like I didn't quite make this jaw as low as it should be. So I'm gonna try and break some of those habits and really observe. It's a hard thing to do. In some ways, if you haven't drawn very often, or you don't commonly draw these animals, it's a little easier to learn because you're more of a blank slate, and you don't have to unlearn bad habits, right? I spent a lot of time watching things like, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, and kind of drawing from that. And while that's really helpful in some ways, there are some stylistic choices in that movie that have certainly flavored my anatomy and my understanding of horse anatomy, so I have to unlearn some of that. It's the pros and cons of it's part of why all of our art teachers are always like, stop drawing anime. It's not that, well, some of them did hate anime, let's be real. But there are some bad habits you can pick up when you draw something stylized as though it's like as your source material, So. Now, of course, if you just want to draw for fun, who cares, right? But if you're trying to develop your skills in a more serious way rather than just drawing for a hobby, reference, that's why reference is important. And sketching from it every once in a while, and that's why we're here. Not to be a broken record or anything. Okay. I love the shape of horse ears. They're so fun. Also, I don't know if you guys are hearing that. There's some kind of construction or something happening outside. There's like a huge humming noise. So if you guys are picking up on that, it's not your audio feed, it's just whatever's happening outside. I honestly have no idea what that is. It kind of sounds like somebody is playing really loud music. Oops. I see an ad break coming. Hold on, I'm going to snooze that. Don't need any ads on these streams. Interrupting people's viewing. I know I have a tendency to put the eye of the horse in kind of some funny places. I think that's one of the bad habits I learned from watching a lot of animation. We tend to humanize animals quite a bit in animation, and so sometimes the placement of eyes or the addition of things like eyebrows. Obviously horses don't actually have eyebrows, although I'm sure if he did, he would look very majestic. Those are things that we use as humans to be able to read expression, but horses use other things, obviously. One thing I always like to note is that the curvature of the jaw right here, and this is true for a lot of mammals, really a lot of animals in general, just because of where the ear tends to sit on the skull, it usually is kind of connected to this, it's seated kind of above the edge of the jawline. So one thing I always like to remember is that the jawline of the horse, if you were to like continue this circle, it would just kind of point at where the ear starts. So that's like a way to check your anatomy a lot of times. See, if I were to continue that circle, it would point at that ear. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. It's going to look somewhat proportional. Just a little pro tip. I think my jaw's a little too rounded here. I'm going to square it off just a bit. Don't want it to be too round. It's got a little bit of a flatness right there. There we go. I'm not going to worry too much about these details in the back, just because that will get confusing. We're just focusing on the face here. Now, as much as I talk about how working from animation can mess you up, I think it can also teach you some really nice shortcuts. For example, like trying to kind of section the hair as opposed to drawing every single strand. It's still going to look like hair. It's something you'll see really commonly in animation for all kinds of things, not just horses. But also don't feel like you have to draw in big chunks like that either. I like to simplify it and just sort of draw some of the lines, if you know what I mean. Now, if I were really going to work this up, I would also talk about line variety, or like line variation, basically. You don't want to always draw with the same thickness of line. So a way to emphasize, certain, like to make the figure pop forward, I could darken the line here. And that's going to make his face pop forward, and the kind of thinner lines in the back will recede. So line weight is certainly a helpful tool when you're trying to direct the eye of the person who's looking at your work. It's something that artists tend to think about. All right. Hey, yeah, thanks for hanging out, Land. Hope, yeah, appreciate the company. Hope to see you around again another time. Would love to see any sketches you come up with if you do decide to sketch, but no pressure either. Everyone is more than welcome to keep their sketches private. I know sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking to share. All right, I'm getting kind of close to finished on this one. I'm going to move on to the next one here in a minute. Yeah. That's about all the information we have there, so I'm going to try not to invent too many things. Yeah. Sometimes I like to leave my stray lines. If you're not a fan of that, don't feel like you have to. I just, I tend to like a little bit of a messy drawing personally. I feel like there's a little more action, movement going on there. I do like his little horse whiskers, so I might sketch those in really fast. Horses are actually very whiskery. They just are often trimmed when you see them in shows and whatnot. Pretty whiskery little animals, though. They're especially fun in winter. We'll see if we can find like a winter horse to draw, perhaps. All right, there we go. There's a horse. Okay, moving on. Let's find a full body. All right, I kind of want to do some like complex poses, but I think just because people are following along, I'll kind of go easy on those for a second. I do have some very fun poses in here that I would love to draw. Oh, these are good. Okay. Let's find a relatively straightforward pose here. I really want to do this rearing up pose, but I'm going to go easy on you guys. We're going to do this one instead. So this looks like an écoltec. These are very beautiful horses with some really interesting coat hair that kind of makes them look shiny. But they're also very like elegant looking, and that therefore you can see a lot of the anatomy going on in these horses. So let's do one of these. They're kind of fun. and then maybe we'll do a fun one after this. But yeah, this one's more of a head-on pose. We haven't really looked at a horse skull from that angle yet, so we'll try this one out. And this one looks like it has a buzz cut. You can't even like see any hair on it, which is kind of interesting. Oops. Sorry guys, I didn't realize there was an ad playing for some of you. Apologize. I'll wait for that ad to end before I get started here. Sorry for those of you who got stuck in that ad break. I didn't realize it was happening until it was almost done. Thought I was, there it is. Thought I was doing a good job with that, but turns out Twitch will not be denied. Alright, so all you missed during that ad break, by the way, was just me finding this reference picture, so no worries. You didn't miss anything important. So we're going to look at this one because it shows a horse, like I was saying, from the front view of the face, and then also kind of an angled view of the body. So remember, keep your anatomy handy. It's it's gonna still come in handy. But yeah, this is a lovely Equitech horse. I think that's how you say it. I'm actually not sure. Never heard anyone pronounce it. But yeah, you can see some nice anatomy on this guy. So we're gonna get started. Remember, do your shapes first. Don't worry about details just yet. We're just getting the body shape. And this one's going to look kind of different because of the angle. So you might think while you're sketching it, like, oh, I did that wrong. Don't worry about it just yet. Just kind of get your loose shapes in. Don't be afraid to erase. Just think about, remember, we know that the shoulder blades are going to go here, right? Because we did our little anatomy study. So I know that the neck is going to come out kind of down here. We know that the skull is kind of rounded at the top and long. Now this one's foreshortened a bit, so I'm going to do a little circle shape to kind of guide me on the nose there. And kind of, boy, these ears are great though, aren't they? I'm going to draw those really fast because I like them. Love the slight inward tilt of the ear. Kind of like a shape like that, and then you can just kind of see the sides there. Very fun, very fun. Okay, got our eyes. I'll kind of put a spot for those to place hold. All right, I don't want to get too caught up in that yet. Still got to get our proportions. Now remember, horses are very muscular. They're basically just big running machines. So there's a lot of muscle on those bones that we were learning about. Oof, my arch enemy, the hind leg. And I'll come back to you. I'm trying to do a better job of like explaining why I'm making decisions I'm making. I was watching back some of the first streams from last week, and I realized I didn't really do a great job of talking about my thinking there. Yeah. You guys can hear the music, right? Like I didn't mess it up to where there is no music at all. I mean, there's not any right now. Hold on, as I ask that, of course. Let's put some on here again. There. I changed my track settings on this setup, so let me know if the music dies or if you can't hear it at all, and I'll fix it. Probably will do a little experimental stream right after this one to make sure I got it right. Okay, and then we got our knee up here. Remember those angled bones in the ankles of the foot. That's going to help guide you. We talked about all these bits. So that's what my brain is doing as I'm looking at this. I'm thinking about what I'm actually, I'll do a little paint over here. What I'm actually seeing in there is, that ankle bone we talked about. And then that, here's the knee, and here's that, and here's the, the hips and the femur and the coming down to the knee. Although in this one, I gotta make sure I'm actually drawing on the right spot. So there we go. This is what we're seeing underneath here. So we got our shoulder, our short forearm, all that stuff. So as you work, and don't feel like you can't reference back, right? Just remind yourself, look at your previous skeletal sketch if you need to, or the reference picture itself can be helpful. just to remind you what bones are there so that you know how to draw them. And just think about how they might look if they were at a slightly different angle. Picture it in your mind. Maybe if you're a more tactile person, maybe get, you know, like an object that's a similar shape or length and kind of turn it if you need to. This is also why a lot of artists use maquettes or sculptures. If you watch behind the scenes for animation, a lot of times that's what they're using. They have an animated or a sculpted version of the character and they can turn it so that their drawings can be more accurate. It's a very fun way to work for sure. I did that way too dark. We're gonna come back to that. In other news, my studio is finally warm. I can finally feel my hands, so that's exciting. I do love how you can really see the ribs on this animal and really see that rib cage that we were looking at earlier. It's probably just a young animal. I don't think it's malnourished or anything. It looks pretty healthy. But really fun movements here in this horse. Had to do a little bit of redrawing there. I got a little too excited about that hind limb. Still not sure it's totally right, to be honest. This is a funny angle. This hind foot here is also foreshortened a bit. So don't worry if yours looks funny. It'll be okay. Haven't done the head. Hey, that's okay. No worries. I've also left mine pretty unfinished, so it's okay. Sorry. Pardon my hiccups, guys. They come at very inopportune times. And then notice with this horse, you know, all of its feet except for this hind foot right here are off the ground right now. So it's okay if they don't quite look right. For that reason, don't worry about making them all match. And also just notice the gait of the horse. Like if you're ever drawing from imagination, horses travel with the opposite foot moving, especially at this trot. So you've got this foot here and that foot here. Those are moving in the same type of cadence, and then you've got the opposite feet here, both off the ground and back. So they're kind of swinging their legs with the opposite, diagonally opposite leg moving with the other one. Something to keep in mind. Like I said, it's a complex creature. I know this one doesn't have a mane. I might just for fun give it some hair, just because I feel bad that it doesn't have any. It looks kind of, I don't know if it got shaved or what before this photo. Now there's a little bit of washout right here. I keep forgetting I'm on the different layer than this picture. Yeah, there's a little bit of washout going on the lighting here, but we know that this is the bottom of the face, and so we can presume that that is the edge of the face. So that's what I'm gonna do. Ah, then you can also throw your pen in your hair. That's another thing you can do. I don't know why I have so much trouble holding onto my tablet pen all the time, guys. Should make a bingo card. Casey's Stream Bingo. The one where she throws her tablet pen at some point in the stream. It's gotta be somewhere in the middle. I'm just gonna add a little bit of hair. I know I shouldn't take creative liberties here, but poor guy just looks so bald. Maybe it's a fashion, wherever this horse is from. All right, there we go. There's our horse. It's got some really beautiful coloring, actually. Kind of wish I had more time to do some coloring here, but I'm gonna move along shortly. One thing we haven't really drawn is the front muscles in the horse. They do have these really fun, I forget what they're called. I think it's basically their horse pecs, right? But they're these really strong chest muscles that they have. Very important. All right, let's draw his little feet and move along here. There's a lot of bits that can look wrong with horses, and hooves are definitely one of them. I'll show a quick picture. We probably won't draw just a hoof, because I do want to do one more, like a little more complex pose for our final one here, because we're getting close to time. But yeah, they basically, and you can see more of this in my Pinterest board if you need it, but essentially the hoof is made up of bits like this. It's always a little bit bigger in the front, a little shorter in the back. Depends on the horse breed, depends on how well trimmed the hooves are. This is like from the direct side, essentially. And this isn't even the best. It's really more of this kind of an angle. But yeah, this is called the fetlock right there. Or no, this is the fetlock. What is this one called? I know this is the cannon bone. I'll have to refresh on my horse anatomy. Anyway, wow, that's a terrible one. I should show you a picture. But see, throwing my tablet pen. But depending on the angle you're looking at the horse from, so they're high, the back part of their hoof, it's kind of like this hair goes down here, comes in a little bit, and you can see basically like that part of the hoof. So all this stuff is all basically fingernail. So it's keratin. It's like a keratin sheath that goes around the bone. And so essentially this is their fingernail, their knuckle, their finger bone, and this is that joint. It's like a hand bone basically. And then this is the wrist of the horse. So we have elbow, wrist. So remember, just think of it, it all moves in a similar way even to ours. So just like we can do this with our wrist bones, but we can't go side to side very much. Same thing, right? And then yeah, just pay close attention to hoof shape, depending on the angle that you're drawing your horse from. So let's do one more Hope everyone's sketches are going well. I'm gonna find one more little picture here. Oh my. So be careful. Be careful when you're using reference pictures, especially with the advent of like AI art and Photoshop manipulation. This might look really fun, but this is definitely a dog mouth put on a horse photo. I'm just gonna pull this over here really fast so you guys can see it. Yeah, don't use reference like this if you find it. I mean, thankfully this one's pretty obvious. You can tell like, oh, those are obviously not herbivore teeth, for example. But just the way that the mouth opens is also not like a horse. So just look closely at your reference pictures before you commit to drawing from them. Don't apologize, Amaze. You're fine. You are fine. All right, I personally love draft horses. They're some of my absolute favorite horse breeds are draft horses. So I think I want to end on a draft horse. I'm going to try and find one that's not too crazy. I do have some pretty nutso reference pictures in here. Draft horses are wonderful. Let's see. I'll find a more basic one than that. Apparently I only pin very fun poses because I'm having trouble finding. Okay, there's one just standing. Maybe a little more complex than that. Oh, here's a good one. Ooh, look at this boy. Okay, so let's do a fun, it's even going in the same direction as the ones we've drawn so far. So hopefully it's not too out of the wheelhouse for you guys. But just notice some of the details on this horse, right? So here's the picture I think we're gonna use. I will put it in the Discord as well. But notice the musculature and how much more, just like how much more of it there is, you know? Hey, Green, we are horsing around today. I'm here for those horse puns, guys. Throw them at me. Really, don't rein them in or anything. You know what I mean? Just keep hoofing it. Okay, stop. Anyway, so notice the thickness, right? So we have our, especially compared to this, I'll put it right down here so you can see. I know it's a different pose, but look how thick this barrel is. Even though the pose is different, just look how robust that looks compared to like the slender shapes you're seeing in these long, lanky, lanky. I mean, even heck, look at these back leg muscles. Like, it's like looking at a bodybuilder versus like a runner. You know, they're very, very like. Look at this arm muscle. Like, it's crazy how muscular these horses are. So horse shape can vary, right? It's not just one size fits all. You wouldn't just put feathering on a horse like this and call it a draft horse. That would just look weird. It's just not. That would be a very malnourished draft horse. And draft horses do tend to have the feathering. That is kind of a trait. I'm not sure if there's any. I don't know of any horse breeds off the top of my head that have feathering that aren't draft horses. They might exist, and I'm not aware of them. But for as best I know, draft horses are one of the few horse breeds that have this, what we call feathering on the feet. So that's a good indicator if you're not good at picking out a draft horse. But just the sheer bulk is a good marker. All right, let's do one more. Somehow I have managed to keep all of my reference pictures on weird layers, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna draw this draft horse. This will be the one bringing us home. I'm working from home. Hey, there you go. Well, we're happy to have you. If you feel like sketching along, feel free. You don't have to. But this is open to anybody. You don't have to be an artist. Some people just want to, try something new in the new year. So we're just talking about how you sketch and why warm-up sketches are helpful, especially if you are a creative person. All right, I'm gonna start with, I just really love the barrel on this guy. And again, the barrel is the tummy, the trunk, if you will. Let's see, what's the easiest way? I'm gonna start with those big muscles. Yeah, there's the shoulders. And you can really kind of get a pretty good view of these chest muscles that I was talking about right there in this picture. I don't know if I posted this in Discord. Hold on. Let me go do that real fast. Yeah, draft horses are so fun. Look at this beautiful boy. Sorry, I got too sucked into drawing the draft horse. I will go post this picture now. Just want to block the head in really fast. Okay. We'll post this in Discord for anybody sketching along. Oh, thanks, Maze already did it. Great, appreciate you. Alright, I'll keep drawing then. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I would say if you're going to practice drawing any animal, it seems pretty universally accepted that horses are a good one to practice. And it's not just because I'm a wannabe horse girl. Featherweight versus heavyweight, yeah, for sure. Just love seeing the big boys move, you know. Look at those feet. How can you not love a draft horse? I mean, seriously, look at this thing. How are things going with you, Green? Everything hunky-dory in the Green Wizard household? How does working with home go with a little one around, or is the little one at school these days? I also want to note a lot of draft horses, it's hard to see in this photo, but a lot of them have what we would call a Roman nose. So here you have like a normal, probably roughly normal, like horse shape face, or face shape. Oh, that was a weird way to say that. A draft horse is almost going to have more of a lot of times anyway, they're going to have almost that Roman, like a heavier face shape. Like maybe a wider, like bigger, more girth right here. Maybe not quite that much, but yeah. They just tend to have more bulk. Typically it's like right here, so like the nose kind of curves up a little bit, but you'll notice that if you spend much time looking at draft horse pictures. I'll find some that show it off a little better. This angle is a little more 3/4, so you're not going to see it as much, but she's at school and somehow turned 6. No! Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so old. I still remember when you told us you were having a baby. Oh, that's so crazy. Man, time flies. Also, thank you for being around that long. Gosh, anyone who's been following me, hanging out with me online that amount of time, I appreciate. Gosh, that would have been like 2018? Something like that. I think that's when I really got into Twitch streaming at first, and then I kind of tapered off for a while there. Yeah, anybody who knew me from the before times and is still around, I appreciate your presence. That goes for you too, Amaze, of course. If I haven't expressed that enough. Man, I can't believe she's 6. Like I said, I still remember you popping in and telling us that you were expecting or had just had a baby. I can't remember if it was like right before. Either way, congrats to you guys for she made it to 6, you know? You're doing the parenting thing correctly. Am I trying to call this horse fat? Never! No! He's not fat, he's husky. No, he's a beautiful, beautiful boy. No, draft horses are not fat. Like I said, they're like the bodybuilders of the horse world. They are the reason, if anyone's not familiar, the reason they are so big is that they were bred, basically bred to pull heavy carts. These are your work horses. These are the horses that are doing a lot of manual labor before we had automobiles everywhere and a lot of trucks doing that stuff. These are machines for sure. These are bred for heavy lifting. A lot of pulling tasks, like a lot of plow horses, you know, kind of tilling soil. It's a lot of work. You need a lot of strong shoulder muscles to make that happen. A lot of good hind leg power. So that's why they look this way, if anybody is unclear about that. They're not fat. They are strong. Very strong. And that's also why they tend to be, well, not always. I guess it depends on the breed, what they're bred for. Some draft horses are very short and very strong. And then you have your massive Percherons and Clydesdales and, you know, Shire horses, those kinds of things. Those are massive, massive animals. Yeah. This one has kind of a funny, because you can't quite see, his neck is probably like kind of stretched forward a little bit. We just can't see it because of the angle of this photo. And I may have overemphasized his shoulder muscles just a tad. What can I say? A sucker for a strong boy. Okay, there we go. Oops. I do love his face feathers. It's got like tons of fuzzy whiskers coming out of his face right there. And they're all white because he's got a white spot right there. It's pretty fun. Oops, my music died. 1 second. All right, let's experiment here, guys. I'm gonna see if I can get this to play. We'll see. It may be that the rest of this video is muted because this is copyrighted, but we'll see. We'll see if I set it up right. I think I did. It is a little inconvenient that his eye is under his hair, but that's okay. The draft horse would like to inform you that this is all muscle. Yes, it is all muscle. He doesn't need to inform me. I know. Don't you worry. I know a muscular boy when I see one. I love his spotting on his legs. Those are really fun. So this is actually a gypsy vanner. It's also called a gypsy cob or a cob. There's all kinds of words for them. I forget the other names. It's a vanner. But basically it's actually a little bit shorter. It's on the shorter side, so that's part of why he looks kind of stocky. That's also what the spotting is about. So most of the time when you see paint markings like that on a draft horse, it's a lot of times going to be a gypsy vanner or a gypsy cob or vanner draft. There's all kinds of names for them. They're pretty, for sure. All right, there's our boy, jumping in the air, being all graceful. Yes, Bastion is 100% a big ol' hairy draft horse. He's not a vanner. He's probably more of a shire. Yeah, but they do, draft horses do tend to have these really heavy forelocks, which are it's basically the bangs. A lot of them do. Let's see. I need to get my water, guys. My my throat is just not having it right now. Yeah, I need to break this up. But I mean, look at this guy. Like, for example. Here's one. Just has like so much hair. This is another gypsy, I want to say. Oh, here's a beautiful one. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you can see all kinds of. I mean, here's a fun one. Actually, fun fact: when Bastion was first drawn, I used to draw him with kind of more of a curly mane, not quite this curly, but they can have curly, like naturally crimped hair sometimes. It's kind of like Frisians have this too. It's just a mane trait. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely a thing. All right, well, I have hit my 30-minute warm-up mark, so I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty warmed up. May do another one just for fun, but if you need to drop off now, and if you've done your 30 minutes, congratulations, success. No need to hang out if you don't want to. I'm probably gonna go find a super fun one. I found some poses that were pretty exciting. I think I want to try. Oof, look at this dramatic boy. That is the most dramatic picture. Okay. Here's one that you don't see often. Ooh, you know what? Actually, let's do a baby horse. Baby horses have really interesting proportions. I do like this one. All right. See, I do need to get some actual work done today, so I probably shouldn't keep drawing a bunch of horses, but it's such good practice. I don't love drawing horses at all. Nope, not me. All right, but look at these. Look how knobby these knees are. Like, really short, high body, like short trunk. His knee. Where is he? Oh, it's right there. Okay. This one's just for fun, guys. No need to do it if you don't want to. This is not mandatory classwork. I'm just having fun. But the angle here is so difficult. This is gonna look weird when I draw it for sure. Really weird pose, weird angle. But they almost have like a deer-shaped body when they're this young and they have no muscles yet. And you can also see his little tail is more of a brush. They call it a brush at this point because it's just kind of stubby hair. It's not flowing at all. It's just like, this is the tailbone, And this is just little bitty hairs coming off of the tailbone, basically. Like there's no flowing dramatic mane or tail yet. Too young, too young. For anybody who is new around here or just joining now, I will be streaming again at my normal time tonight. That'll be at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, so do your own adjustments there. It's in about, oh gosh, I don't know. I guess it's only in like 5 hours actually. So, yeah. Going a little longer here than I probably should be, but that's okay. These warm-up streams are only supposed to be 30 minutes to, well, 40 minutes to an hour. This takes me about 10 to actually get going, is what I've noticed, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing some horse stuff today anyway. For my own project, I have a piece I need to bring up to finish a little more, so this is good practice for me right now. So I'm taking some liberties. But if anybody wants to watch later, I'm not sure what I have on the docket. I'll have to check the calendar. I do have a schedule here on Twitch. But yeah, I think I'll be working on a portfolio piece that I'll be working on today, actually. So hopefully I'll bring it up to a little more finish before stream starts, and then that way you guys don't have to watch the boring part. Early stages are always kind of boring, I think. It's a lot of me fiddling. Yeah, look at this. So here's one of those times where I'm definitely, that just looks so weird to me. So this is one of those times where tracing is helpful, because I can see the lines there a lot easier than I can because of the weird angle of this picture and the lighting. But it's still not easy. But yeah, I love how big baby horse feet are compared to their body size. It's just crazy proportions. Like, look at those hind legs. Almost looks like a kangaroo. He is just careening around this paddock. Look at him go. I drew that slightly too long. I also think I dropped his other leg a little. I'll just adjust accordingly here. Put that cute little star on his head. What a cutie. Look at this boy. Or girl. I can't actually tell. Anyway. Alright. Well, there we go. We drew some horses, guys. Congrats. Should probably head off and actually do some other work. I am curious to see if this audio thing worked. So hopefully if it does, then from now on I will be able to actually play music again. And then it just won't show up in the VOD. So if you're watching this back later and you're like, what are you talking about? I don't hear any music. That's why I've set it to where the tracks will not record the music. It will only record my voice and like any alerts or anything. Well, I forgot to check if my sound alerts still work. Right, they seem to still be there. I'll mess with that more later. But, all right, well, there we go. We have drawn some horses, guys. So thanks for hanging out. If you made any sketches that you want to share, whoops. Apparently I drew that on that layer. So that's just part of that picture now. Gosh. I'll fix it later. Anyway, you can drop those on Discord if you want to. Here is the Discord link. If anybody isn't in the Discord and wants to be, that is where I'll be posting my sketches. And once I get them all kind of onto the same page. Ooh, and fix this horse's eyeball. I don't know if you guys, why didn't anyone tell me his eye was floating? Yikes, yikes, yikes. There we go. Anyway, got distracted by my own terrible drawing. Sorry, guys. It happens. It happens occasionally. Alright, what was I saying? Oh yeah, and then you can post your work there if you want to. Certainly don't have to if you don't want to, but that's where people are sharing their progress with this project. And you are welcome to join if you'd like. Whether you're drawing along today or a week from now, it doesn't matter. Feel free. But you can find all the links to some reference boards and that kind of thing. And yeah, all that good stuff will be there. And then if you need any socials, those are below. But I think it's social. Dang it. Social. That's the one. I'll check that out in a second. Amaze, thanks. You can find me there if you would like to follow along with any of this stuff. So I'm gonna head off, but like I said, I'll be drawing again later tonight. Let's go out on. I like my little draft boy. We'll just go out on him. He looks nice. Go out on a few. There you see a few of them. Okay. Yeah. So I'll see some of you tonight if you are back on Twitch at 4. That's where I will be doing that. And right now I'm going to see if I can find anyone to raid because I told myself I would be better at raiding. I don't have any artists. I only do art raids usually. So I don't have art raids to raid. However, we're going to make an exception because I see my friend Rio is streaming right now. So I think we may just go surprise Rio with a little bit of raid. Looks like she's playing a video game called Dave the Diver. So we can go hang out with her for a bit. She's great. Childhood friend of mine, so make an exception here. But usually I only raid art streams, so if anyone's an art streamer or knows a good art streamer that streams this time, I would love to know about them so I can follow and hopefully get to know them. But let's go ahead and raid in. So thanks for hanging again. I will be back on at 4, and until then, we'll see you.